Hey, so this week we've been looking at how life sometimes feels a bit like a stormy sea, and it can sometimes feel a bit like we're in a tiny little fishing boat being tossed around on the waves, and that doesn't feel very nice. But when we do feel like that, we have to remember that Jesus is in our boat with us, and he can stop the wind and the waves, and he can look after us, so we don't have to be afraid. So to help us to remember that, we made a stormy sea and a tiny boat with a picture of us and Jesus inside it. If you want to have a go at making this too, here is what you'll need. So you need some poster paint. We used green and blue, but anything that's vaguely sea colour will do. And a brush and some straws, or a straw as a metal, but a plastic one will do just fine. And if you haven't got either of those, then a biro that you've taken, an old biro that's taken all the middle out of, so you've just got a plastic tube, will also do exactly the same thing. Some scissors, a milk bottle top, doesn't matter what colour, a pen, some glue and some paper. If you've got blue, brilliant. If you haven't, don't worry, any colour will do. So first of all, we made our stormy sea. We used a technique here which involved putting the poster paint on the paper and then using our straw to blow it around and make it look really stormy and splattery. So first of all, we mixed up a bit of poster paint and some water, because it's quite useful if it's quite runny to do this, because it helps you to blow it about the paper with your straw. And then we started by putting a bit of paint on, a blob of paint on the paper, and then we used our straw to blow it around. We tried doing it in lines, and that kind of looked all right. And then we also tried doing it with blobs of paint and then blowing it in all directions, and we thought that was probably the better technique. This made a huge mess. So if you're doing this, make sure you protect your workspace and your clothes, and make sure that the grown-up who is in charge is okay with what you're doing before you do this. When we'd finished, it looked like this. Wait for it to dry, as took a good few hours. And then once it's dry, you might find that the paper's gone a bit crumpled. So what we did was stuck a bit of card on the back to just reinforce it a bit. But that's totally optional. The next thing to do is make your little boat to go on your stormy sea. So take your milk bottle top and fold it in half. You should be able to do this with a bit of oomph. And it'll just make it look a bit more boat shaped. So we're going to make the sail now. So you need to cut yourself a rectangle of paper that's roughly the same width as your boat and a little bit longer. Fold it in half long ways vertically, and then just fold a little bit over on the end as well, like this. And then you want to cut diagonally from the top out to the side to make a sort of sail shape. And with that little fold on the bottom, you want to just curve it off a bit. If you don't get what I mean, here is what it should look like when you've done it. So it looks like a sail with a flap at the bottom, curvy flap. And then with these scissors, just snip the flap in the middle on the fold line, so that you've got two bits instead of one big flap. Then take your sail and draw, if you can, really teeny tiny, draw a little picture of yourself and a picture of Jesus. You are going to be in the boat together, so you can be doing anything. You could be giving each other a high five, be doing some fishing. Jesus could be holding his hands up saying stop to the wind and the waves, or you could just be having a bit of a laugh. And here's what ours looked like when it was finished. I really like Jesus's hair. I think it's absolutely awesome. I'm wondering whether Jesus's hair actually did look like that. It might well have, if he'd just woken up and he was in a boat in the middle of a storm. Hey, who knows? So next you need to put a bit of glue just on that flap that you've made on the bottom. Don't put it on your sail, just on the flap. And you can just fold it over like that so it's slightly bent in the middle, and stick it down inside your milk bottle top like that. Hopefully yours looks a bit like that too. And if you turn it round, there's you and Jesus in your sailboat, all ready to go on your stormy sea. And there you go. You can try it out on your stormy sea as well. Make it sail around. Reenact the story that you've heard about Jesus calming the wind and the waves. So yeah, use it any way you like, but we just thought it'd be a really nice reminder that Jesus is with us in our boat, even if we feel like we're in the middle of a storm and it's not very nice. There's no need to be afraid. Just ask Jesus for help, and he is there. He will always be there. If you want to send in what you've done so that we can see, then feel free to do that. There's an email address you can send it to in the notes at the bottom of this video. Hope you have a really good week, and whatever the storms of life bring this week, just know that Jesus is there with you. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.